So what's the craziest WhatsApp message you've ever sent or received? Put it in the comments below. Without further ado, let's grab a blanket, turn off your lights for 4 true scary What's Up WhatsApp horror stories. WhatsApp creeper. Okay, so first off, I finally figured out how to post something. I'm a long-time lurker here, and this is my very first post. I hope this actually belongs here, and even though this happened a while ago, I'm hoping someone can help me with this, because it was incredibly unnerving and creepy to me. So, to begin, I'm an 18-year-old female, and this incident happened to me in January of this year, but actually began last year. For a little information, I'm a Facebook addict, or at least used to be. I'm not a very sociable person in real life. I'm very quiet and horrifically shy. But online, you'd think I was the most interesting person you can meet. Before this particular incident, I was, in a sense, careless with my activities online. I added anyone who sent me a friend request, regardless of whether or not I knew the person in real life. I know I was an idiot, but my reasoning was that, hey, it's not like I really had to talk to everyone who messaged me, right? Well, for a while, that wasn't the case, as I ended up having short conversations with a bunch of people, most of whom I didn't know that well. I wasn't so stupid to give out personal information. In fact, my responses were pretty vague, and I never really felt unsafe with what I was doing. Yes, I've had a lot of strange males message me, things like "Hey cutie" or "Night sweetness." Note, that lingo is normal in the region I live in. With those, I usually ignore, especially since I have a boyfriend at the moment and wasn't interested. Well, sometime in mid-January, a guy messaged me on Facebook saying, "Mornin'." I'll call him Jerry. Jerry was, of course, a complete stranger to me, but we did have some mutual friends, so out of habit, I simply said "morning" back. Later that same day, Jerry messaged me again asking what's up, and I gave my customary reply of nothing. He then asked how things were going, and I, not really bothered by him, told him I was fine. Then, he asked the question that immediately sent me off, like a bunch of the other people I end up ignoring. "Where do you live?" Of course, I didn't tell him. I didn't respond at all, and pretty much left it at that. He messaged me one other time after that, but I ignored it. Just keep in mind, after he asked me where I lived, I never talked with him again, and this was in July of 2015. I didn't hear from him again for 6 months, and I pretty much forgot about him until January of this year. With me being sort of an introvert, I don't have a great mass of social media, only Facebook and recently WhatsApp. I started spending more time on WhatsApp than on Facebook, since the people I talked to were generally family and schoolmates. It was all good. It was the term for IAs to begin in school, and I busied myself with my own problems. One evening after school, I'd been on WhatsApp talking with a friend about something, where out of nowhere, I see I got another text. The person was not in my contacts, and whether out of boredom or sheer stupidity, I allowed the person to text me. This is where things get very strange. The person said, "Hello, what's up?" My name. Something I should say. My Facebook name is different from the name I normally use. It's one of my middle names, and my friends and everyone who knows me outside of my family calls me by my first name. Something else I should add, just to bring this point home, no one, not even my family, calls me by the name I use on Facebook. So of course, I was very confused by this person calling me that. Hesitantly, I replied, "Hi?" He asked me what's up. I said nothing. And then he asked how I was going. Out of sheer habit, I said I was alright, and asked, "Do I know you?" What he said next positively floored me. "Yeah, from Facebook. I had your number for a while now, but my phone screen cracked. Just got it fixed, so I just added you." Note, I'm changing the lingo used in the actual text. I remember pausing for a moment before simply saying, "Oh." I asked them what their name was, since clearly we would have had to have talked at some point, right? He said, "Jerry." I couldn't remember anyone with that name, and I ended up going into Messenger and scrolling through to see if I had really spoken to this person. Sure enough, I found our chat and was admittedly slightly relieved, but still quite puzzled. So I awkwardly said, "Oh, how are you?" He said he was fine and began asking me what I was doing. "Just doing some schoolwork," I replied, to which he then offered to help, and I, of course, declined the offer. He then started asking me what I was doing that weekend, what subjects I was doing in school, and he told me that he was in engineering. My responses to him were all vague as, by this point, I was weirded out by the situation. After replying to his comments about his line of work, I asked him how he had gotten my number. Again, he said from Facebook. But by this point, I looked into my profile, and I'm not even joking, my phone number was nowhere on my profile. And I never displayed on any other site, and certainly never gave him my number. He had asked me if there was a problem, and I merely said no, although by that point, I should have said otherwise. He started questioning me again, asking once more where I lived. Naturally, I told him I couldn't tell him that because he was a virtual stranger. The conversation then proceeded with him sending a voice note, asking if we could talk and get to know each other. I honestly don't even know how it escalated that quickly, and I ended up asking him to tell me about himself, which he did, with listing his hobbies and personality. Once again, I responded with a straightforward answer of my own, only giving a general area of where I lived. Don't know why I did that though. While I was talking to him, I was telling my friend what was going on, completely freaked out and confused by all of this. She simply told me not to worry because he didn't know anything about me, which at the time was a consolation, but I was still unnerved. Jerry just kept wanting to talk to me, asking why we couldn't be friends in a voice note, and that he had a girlfriend, so I didn't need to worry. I had told my boyfriend about the creeper, and the next day in school, I showed him the messages. He then told me that maybe the guy got it from Messenger, since apparently that it's closely linked with my phone number. But when he checked that, my number was in no way affiliated with my Messenger profile. My boyfriend then joked and said, "Guess you have a high hacker stalker or something like that." I didn't find the situation funny at all. Then, it only got creepier when I suddenly realized that there was no way he could have gotten it straight off my Facebook, since even if somehow my number was displayed, the number I had used to sign up for it was my old number on my old phone, and I hadn't done any updates on that even after getting a new phone. I checked to see who our mutual friends were, only to find that none of them were close enough to have my number and give it to him. Even if that were the case, we had more than 30 mutual friends, and he would have had to have gone through all of them to get my number. Needless to say, I blocked him on WhatsApp soon after that, but it didn't stop there. A few weeks after I had blocked him, I got another message on Facebook, but from a different profile. I knew it was him because his profile picture was the same one as the one on WhatsApp. I didn't respond to the message, and since then, I haven't heard from Jerry. But this was by far the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me. If anyone can think of how he could have gotten my number, please tell me, so I could correct it immediately, and keep something like this from ever happening again. What are you doing with my phone? I want to share a story which I still think of sometimes. It all happened when I was around 16 years old, 2 years ago, at a local McDonald's in my area. I went partying with two friends. One left, and the other guy and me went to McDonald's as he wanted a burger, and I had to use the toilet. In Germany, fast food restaurants are usually crowded at Saturday evenings, as most people come from clubbing and want to eat. That day, though, the whole McDonald's restaurant was empty. Only workers, me, and my friend. I went to the toilet while he ordered his McMenu and noticed that the bathroom is just as empty as the restaurant. I found the atmosphere rather creepy, as it was silent and the alcohol in my blood made me paranoid. So I hurried up and rushed out of the bathroom without even cleaning my hands and straight up the stairs. When my friend got his food, we wanted to leave, but I could not find my phone, so I thought it must have been in the bathroom somewhere. Being drunk really makes me oblivious. So I rushed down the stairs, even though I knew if it was there, no one would have stolen it, and I opened the bathroom door to see a tall, suited man with my phone in his hand. He didn't even pay attention to me. His eyes were glued on my phone, which he just held in his hand. I gave my buddy a sign to come in, as he was standing just outside the bathroom door, and he came in, and now suddenly the guy looked at us, and I told him it's my phone that he has in his hands, and he just looks at me and puts it on the wash basin and walks out silently without even saying a word or two. I was already creeped out, as there was no way he could have been there while I was urinating, as all the doors were opened and empty. But the crazy and most creepy part was that when I grabbed my phone, the creeper was reading my WhatsApp chats, which cannot be, as I have a 4-digit code to unlock the home screen, and there was no way that the creeper could have found out my password so quickly. I was scared he might have seen my address, as I texted it to a friend on WhatsApp, who visited me for a first time a few days ago. So let's not meet again, creepy man. I shouldn't have turned around. I've been reading stories in this page for a while, so I thought I'd share mine. First of all, English is not my first language. Sorry if I make any mistakes. It happened last summer. I was on my way home after spending the afternoon at my friend's house. It was getting dark outside, but I didn't mind since she lives 2 minutes away from my house, and there were still people on the street. I have to mention that I live in a safe small town, so I've never been afraid of walking alone at night or talking to strangers. On my way home, there was a guy going the opposite direction as I was. He looked at me strangely, but I ignored that thought and kept on walking. A few seconds later, I heard, "Excuse me," so I turned around. It was him. I thought he might be lost, so I stopped to see what he wanted. People getting lost in my town is a common thing, so I thought he might need help. I was wrong. He asked me if I was that girl from Facebook named Amanda. I had no idea who he was talking about. "Wrong person," I said. At that moment, I expected him to apologize and leave, but he didn't. I continued walking my way, and he went by my side. There was something weird about him. His clothes were scruffy, and he didn't look like a clean person at all. The fact that scared me the most was that as he was looking at me, he looked at me as if he could see through my soul. His gaze was so deep that I felt vulnerable to him. I can't remember exactly how his face was, but he had blue eyes and a short beard. I love blue eyes, but his were scary, like bloodshot eyes. I felt uncomfortable as soon as he started making personal questions, and he was way too close for someone I've never met before. He looked older, so I told him I was 16, thinking he would leave knowing I was underage, but he was like, "Aw, nice." "Do you have a boyfriend?" he asked. You might think that I was overreacting, but at that point, I started shaking. He gave me a very, very bad vibe. "No, but I don't want one," I replied. He told me to chill, that he just wanted to be my friend. Then he said to go somewhere else to have a drink or something, but I obviously made up an excuse. He said, "Okay." The fact that we were just in front of my house made things worse. I didn't want to let him know where I lived, so I walked past there. I don't know if he noticed, but the more time passed, the more nervous I was. I almost cried of relief when he said he was leaving. He asked for my phone number to keep in contact and gave him a fake one, but I made a mistake. I was so nervous that instead of giving him a completely fake one, I just changed the last number of my actual one. I thought about it later. He gave me 2 kisses on the cheek and left. Ew. Yes, where I live, people greet this way, unfortunately. I sat on a bench and waited enough time to make sure he wasn't there anymore. Then I went home. Later that night, I got a WhatsApp message. For those who don't know, WhatsApp is a chatting phone app similar to Kik, but with telephone numbers instead of IDs. It said, "You're a naughty girl. You shouldn't lie to me." I'm 27, by the way. You can imagine my reaction after reading that. I blocked the number, I turned off my phone, and I could barely sleep for the rest of the night. The next day, I turned my phone on and I had 3 missed calls and another message from a different number. "Why did you block me?" "I just wanted to be your friend. Anyways, do you want me to pick you up today? Look, I swear it's mine." And then he sent me a photo of a white Audi. The license plate was pixelated. I blocked the number and I deleted the app for a while, until things got safer for me. 6 months ago, I got a call. I don't usually answer to unknown numbers, but I thought it was a different person, so I answered it. It was him. He said, "Hey, do you remember me? I'm the blue-eyed guy. How have you been? We could meet someday." As I heard that, I hung up. That was the last time I heard from him, and I want it to be the last. I recognize I should have been smarter and have ignored him in the first place, but at that moment I was freaking out. So, creepy guy, let's not meet again. Ever. P.S. A few days after the incident and the messages, my mother told me that our neighbor's car got stolen. It was a white Audi, like the one in the picture that the creep sent me. I just might be paranoid, but it was a very weird coincidence. Delete my number already. Let me be clear. I have no idea who this person is. I barely use WhatsApp anymore now, and I'm finally on an unlimited messaging plan. But every so often, I or someone goes overseas and reinstalls the app, and then he messages me. Every time I get angry and tell him to delete me, but the creep of course doesn't delete me, and he only ever uses WhatsApp to message me, and he uses my pseudonym. Like I use Juliet at coffee shops and stuff, because my actual name is too common. The last time he messaged me, I was going to Asia for an engagement party. Unfortunately, I don't have the chat saved, and I remember telling my fiance about it, and we messaged James while at the terminal waiting for a delayed flight. It was amusing at the time, but we got over it and told him I have no idea who he was, and I swore a lot and told him to fuck off. I recently reinstalled WhatsApp. My sister went overseas for her honeymoon, and so we could keep in contact, and then bam, James, this guy, starts messaging, "Are you still married?" But seriously, I'm so annoyed and creeped out by this guy, and I quote, his final message from yesterday was, "I won't send you a message again. As I said, I have no intention of bothering you. Mrs. Juliet, I only messaged you on the off chance the marriage didn't work out, as I never forgot you, and I thought you were an absolutely amazingly wonderful person." And finally enough said, "Yes, you were a rate. I just thought there might be a 1% chance that it may not be the case this time around. It's clear I do not have any chance. I will delete your number at your request, so I cannot physically message you even if I badly wanted to. I do wish you the best." What? I messaged you only on the off chance the marriage didn't work out? Who the hell says that? Like seriously, like go away. Anyways, update. I've gotten a few comments like block him and stuff like that. I mean, I've tried to do that. It's always a different number. And the way WhatsApp works, it's based on your mobile number, right?